It's been announced that the Keach Family Library in Robstown will be reopening next week with some limitations and extra security precautions in place. This grab-and-go phase, as they call it, is the third part of their plan to keep serving the public. The library planning to open with a limited capacity on Monday, October 5th, and then visitors will be allowed to use computers, copiers, fax machines. You can even pick up books at the curbside. Now, here's a look at some of the safety precautions going on there. First of all, anyone with COVID symptoms should not go into the library at all. Only 10 people will be allowed in at any one time, and anyone 10 years or older will be required to wear a face mask.